All right, so now this is a checkpoint, so this is where you're going to pause it, and what you're going to do is you want to write all 6 trigonometric functions, the values of those functions, evaluate them at each one of these angles. So just like we did in the previous example. So go ahead and hit pause, find and evaluate all of the 6 trigonometric functions for each one of these angles, okay? And then when you're finished, come on back and see if you got the correct answer. Okay, so now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out the 6 trigonometric functions like I did before, because I can erase things where you probably, it's easier for me to do that than you. So just follow along. So sine t, cosine t, tangent t, and then we're going to do secant t, cosecant t, and then cotangent t. Okay, now, sine t is equal to y. Okay? Sine t is equal to y. Cosine t is equal to x. Tangent is y over x. Okay? Now, secant is 1 over cosine. That's what you have to remember. Secant is 1 over cosine, which is going to be 1 over x. Cosecant is 1 over sine, so that's going to be 1 over y. And then cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so that's going to be x over y. Now, all I'm going to do is fill in based on the coordinates of each angle. Okay, so now this is where we have to, again, the unit circle comes in. So this is pi over 2, which corresponds to a 90-degree angle, which is going to correspond to the 0, 1 coordinate. Okay? It's at the top of the unit circle. Okay, so now all I have to do is plug in my values. So y is going to be 1, this is going to be 0, x is 0, so this is going to be undefined. Okay, and then secant 1 over x, well, x is 0, so it's going to be undefined. And then 1 over y is 1, so this is just going to be 1. And then x over y is going to be 0 over 1, which is just 0. And those are the 6 values. Okay, now let's do b. Now b is 0. Well, we know that one too. That's an easy one too. Because at t equals 0, that's going to be straight out 1 unit to the right on the x-axis, which is going to be 1, 0. So now guess what? Now we're just going to change these because this is just going to be 0, 1. And then of course, these two are going to be 0, 0. Right? Or excuse me, not 0, 0. This is going to be 1. And then, of course, for cosecant, 1 over y is 1, so this is going to be 1. Or no, I'm looking at the wrong one. 0. So this is going to be undefined. So the last two are going to be undefined. Because you can't have 0 in the denominator. Okay, so that takes care of B. Okay, now let's look at c. Now again, negative, both c and d are negative values, so negative 5 pi over 6. So we're going negative 5 pi over 6 in the clockwise direction. So this is going to be what? Well, it's less than pi. So it's going to be in the third quadrant. Okay? So this would correspond to 7 pi over 6. Right? It's in the third quadrant. Okay, so all we have to do is think about the unit circle, right? So if I know I'm dealing with a 30-degree angle, so I know in the first quadrant the 30-degree angle is what? So think about it. So it's going to, well, okay, so if you look at the 30-degree angle, right? In the first quadrant, so I'm going to say first quadrant, so Q1, so 30-degree angle, or pi over 6, is equal to, or implies that we're going to be square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, right? Okay. If we go pi, it's a reflection along the origin. If we go to pi, if we add pi to it, we're going to add what? 6 pi, so we're going to get 7 pi over 6. Which corresponds to negative 5 pi over 6. Okay, and what happens? It becomes negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. Right? Now again, that's just one way of doing it. Okay? But the point is if you memorize these, you can figure out what they are easily. Okay, so now we got square root of 3 over 2, comma, or negative square root of 3 over 2, comma, negative 1/2. And so now we're just going to plug and check. So this is going to be negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2, and then y over x is going to be negative square, oops, I almost made a mistake again. Negative 1/2 over negative square root of 3 over 2, which again gives us 1 over the square root of 3, which gives us square root of 3 over 3. And then 1 over x is going to be negative 2 over root 3, which is going to give us negative 2 root 3 over 3. And then y is going to give us what? -2, or 1 over y. So cosecant t is going to be 1 over y, which is going to give us -2. And then cotangent t is just the reciprocal of tangent. So we're going to get 3. Well, in this case here, if we go back, instead of doing here, if we go back to this and flip these two, it'll just be root 3, or positive 3. Positive root 3, I mean. Yeah. So square root of 3. All right, now let's do negative, the last one. Okay, now, let's do this one a little differently. This is -3 pi over 4. So this is going by fourths, so this is a 45-degree angle, right? One of those 45-degree angles. So it's going to go -pi over 4, and then 2 pi over 4, which is down, going straight down, right? And then -3 pi over 4 is in the fourth quadrant. So again, if we think about the first quadrant, this is a reflection of the first quadrant. So we know that the first quadrant is what? Positive root 2 over 2, comma, positive root 2 over 2. In the third quadrant, we know they're both negative. So let's just make them both negative. Okay? And now let's fill in the values. So obviously both of these are going to be the same. Oops, not 3, 2. 2 root 2, negative root 2 over 2. And then y over x is what? They're the same, so it's just going to be 1. Negative divided by negative is positive, and they're the same, so it's going to be 1. 1 over x is going to be the reciprocal, right? Which is going to just give us, so 1 over x is going to be the reciprocal, so we're going to end up getting negative root 2. And the same thing for this one, negative root 2. And then x over y is still 1. And that's it. Have a great day.